Few things in the wastes terrify travellers more than the prospect of encountering one of the Ash Waste Nomad tribes. To the people of Necromunda, they are as alien and unsettling as any known Xenos species. In the eyes of a hiver, they seem divorced from humanity, and though they might appear as human, there can be no doubt their culture, and perhaps their biology, diverged from the rest of mankind's long ago. To those not familiar with the landscapes and peoples of Necromunda, it might seem that upon hearing of these nomad tribes and their wasteland home, that they may be little different than the countless other wasters and mutants, scavies and drudges, who have been forced to exist beyond the sheltering embrace of the hive cities. The difference between the two, however, is as stark as the difference between civilization and barbarism. The origins of the Ash Waste Nomads are mired in myth and legend. Ancient tales recount how, when the Iron Lords were cast down by the Imperium, the last true citizens of the Arneus continuity fled from their oppressors into the wastes of the now blighted world. Some say the Nomads are descended from these first people, tormented and changed by the wasteland into creatures that stalk the wilds today. Hatred of the Imperium and its proxy Lord Helmar still fresh in their hearts. Others claim the Ash Waste Nomads existed even before the coming of the Imperium, and were a slave class of the Iron Lords, forced to toil deep beneath the ground in hellish mines. Only when their masters were dethroned, and Necromunda scoured by fire, did they emerge to take their rightful place as rulers of the Ash Wastes. Whatever their true origins, according to the records of the Hive world, the Ash Waste Nomads have existed for thousands of years, surviving the changing seasons of the planet, the horrors they share the wastes with, and countless efforts by the Imperial House to wipe them out. Their strength comes not from their ability to seemingly appear or vanish into the rolling storms of the wasteland, or their talents for battle, but the terror they inspire in their enemies, who know nothing of their true nature. In battle, they are ruthless and brutal, often achieving complete surprise of their enemies when they strike. Clad in their flowing hazan, or ash cloaks, they can lie for hours beneath shifting ashen sands, waiting for their prey to draw near. Then, attacking with sudden and overwhelming force, they bring down their quarry, claiming their prize of loot and supplies before disengaging. Their habit of taking their dead with them only adds to the dark tales surrounding their true nature. The lack of dead bodies after a battle leads many hivers to believe them to be creatures that cannot be killed, a claim only reinforced by stories of nomads taking mortal wounds, but refusing to die. Wild tales of immortal wasteland warriors aside, travellers and settlers in the wastes know well enough to avoid the Ash Waste Nomads whenever they can. It is known that the nomads gather themselves into great tribes, and several have been identified as inhabiting the great equatorial wastes surrounding Cinderak City and the vast wilderness regions between Hive Primus in the north and Hive Minerva in the south. These tribes go by many names, though most commonly a tribal name and an imperial one. For example, the Tzungyar, the greatest tribe of the equatorial wastes, are usually known by their imperial given name, the Grey Waste Walkers. The Tzungyar embody everything people commonly know and fear about the nomads, and are exceptional raiders and scavengers. They can appear in small war parties or massive tribes, the largest numerous enough to threaten even major settlements. In its long history, Cinderak City itself has been attacked by the Tusngar numerous times, the Ash Waste Nomads sacking whole sections of the city before vanishing once again into the wastes. It is from the Tusngar that hivers and wasters have come to understand the great spirits that drive the nomads on their endless trek across the wastes and watch over them as they endure Necromunda's pitiless environment. From fragments of recorded data and wasteland legends, scholars believe that Tusngar and their fellow tribes worship or are perhaps beholden to the spirits of Necromunda itself, though there is much conjecture on whether or not these are some supernatural entities like gods or saints, or merely metaphorical interpretations or personifications of the planet itself. In either case, to the Ash Waste Nomads, these spirits are real, and each tribe has a warrior or leader said to embody the one that watches over their people. For the Tusngar, this is the mother of scavengers, who stalks the wastes, surrounded by a flock of wild grapplehawks. She is the great spirit of the Grey Wastes, and a symbol for the horror her people embody to underhivers. Though the Tusngar are by far the most numerous tribe to inhabit the great equatorial wastes, there are others, along with great spirits of note. The Bakhau, known colloquially as the Oil-Run Stalkers, live on the edges of the Poison Sea and are touched by its toxic miasma. They breed the creatures of the Sump, use deadly chems in their weapons, and traps dredged up from the deeps of the Great Black Ocean. Their great spirit is the Sump Spirit, a creature dripping with the poison of the slag seas and casting a baleful glow of radiation. The Urnak, also called the Dust Wall Crawlers, inhabit the lands near the Dust Wall around the ruins of Hive Secundus, and scavenge the wastelands in its shadow for tools and weapons. They are breeders of insectoids without peer, and grow the largest and meanest in the wastes. Their great spirit is the Ghost Hellamite, a figure clad in chitinous armor who speaks in chittering sentences. The Katuka, or Lead Sky Seers, are the people of the storm, making their home on the edge of the Irradium Oceanus, where the howling winds of the dead, dry, and dust seas converge, forming great storms that sweep across the Palatine Plateau. Their great spirit is the Storm Dancer, a warrior clad in fluttering rags and robes who can control the savage winds of Necromunda. Perhaps one of the most terrifying aspects of the Ash Waste Nomads is their connection to the Hellamite insect breeds of the wasteland. These deadly predators are seemingly as old as the waste themselves, born of the toxic deserts and chem-rich soil. Hellamites live in great waste-infused insect mounds. The spoil in Necromunda's northern reaches is notorious for the size and number of these terrible nests. A peril to travelers, traders, and prospectors alike, it was long believed the Hellamites were a mindless beast of no use to Necromunda except to terrorize its people. That the Ash Waste Nomads have managed somehow not only to tame them, but to ride them into battle, marks them even more so as abominations in the eyes of the Imperial House and its subjects. For what race of people could be kin to such despicable parasites? And here the truth of the Ash Waste Nomads is finally revealed, for no one knows for sure what flesh lurks beneath their ragged robes and masks, or if, in fact, anything of their human ancestry remains at all.